Alright, hello and welcome everybody back to another episode of Heroes of the Storm A to Z. My name as usual is Conman, and we're going to take a step back from playing the hard characters like we did Medivh in the last video, and we're going to get into something a little bit easier. We're going to take a look at Muradin, the tank, the warrior from World of Warcraft. I like him. He's fun to play. He can maybe be a little bit boring. I'm not sure if that's the right phrase that I would want to use. He's a really, I think in my opinion, he's a really solid pick. If you're new to the game and you're looking for like a fairly easy warrior to play, just to kind of get into, he can be very forgiving because of his trait. He does have kind of an escape ability if you use it correctly. If played correctly, he can be forgiving. I like him. I think he's a good solid pickup. He's kind of in a good spot. He's not overpowered. I don't think he's underpowered. He's kind of just there, and he's always pretty solid in my personal experience with him. And he's got some innate CC. I mean, he's got a stun. He's got a slow. He can do a lot of things very, very well. He's got lots of health. He can body block. I mean, he's just there. He's very solid. Like I said, if you're a new player and you're looking for a warrior to pick up and that you're concerned about, you don't know what the talents do, Muradin's a really simple character to kind of get yourself into and get your feet wet with. So I would recommend him. Let's take a peek at what he's got. He has got lots of health, as you can see here. Level 20. He's got 5,700 health, which is quite a lot. Some decent health regen. He is melee, but he does a solid amount of damage for his auto attacking at level 20 here. You see 213. It's not so bad, just over an attack per second, so it's nothing to sneeze at. He gets a mount, no baseline armor. He just has lots and lots of health, and he's got lots of ways to regenerate that health. Let's take a look at his trait. His trait is Second Wind. Muradin restores 116 health per second when he has not taken damage for 4 seconds. When below 40 health, that is increased to 232. So let's go. I'm gonna go eat some tower fire here. Show you what this looks like. Alright, so I'm down to almost 500 health. Now watch this. This trait's going to kick in. Boom. Look how quickly this is just regenning. It's going to go back up. Once I get to 40% health, the ticks are going to, slow down a little bit, but he's still going to regen a lot himself. So this right here is one of the reasons why I think Muradin can be very forgiving and why he can be a very strong hero. He can take a lot of damage. He can jump out of the way, and just naturally, have innate and health regen, which allows him to kind of just peel out a little bit, wait a few seconds, get some health, and then kind of, hop back into the fray. It's like basically natural self-sustain. Now, you do have to not take damage for 4 seconds in order to trigger this. So there is some leeway time. I mean, you're not going to be able to fire this off in the middle of a fight. But you can kind of dive out of the way for a little bit, regain, and kind of jump back in, depending on the situations and whatnot. But this also, this allows you the ability to say, like, say you're in a fight and you need to bail out. All right, you hop out of the way, you go run off somewhere. You don't necessarily need to hearth just because of health. Muradin does have some mana problems, but you don't need to hearth because of mana. You can just go run to a different part of the map, and by the time you're there, you're back topped off. And when you couple that with a support, it makes for a pretty solid amount of self-sustain. Let's take a peek at his abilities. So we've got Q, which is Stormbolt. Throw a hammer. It deals a good chunk of damage, actually, and it stuns the enemy, the first enemy hit. Not just hero. It will, you'll hit mercenaries, you'll hit minions. You got to be careful. Toggle cooldowns. It's a skill shot, so you do got to make sure you hit it. It's got a fairly okay range for a stun, but I mean, you can stop people in their tracks with this. Heroes coming at you, you hit him with a stun, there you go. Good Muradins, you're gonna want to be able to hit this on a consistent basis. Like there's no minions here, I'll be able to walk up. Now there's a minion, so I smacked the minion, didn't smack Arthas. There we go, and there's Arthas there. His W ability is Thunderclap. Blast nearby enemies for 219 damage, and slow them by 25% for 2.5 seconds. Heroes hit also have their attack speed reduced, so it's going to look something like that. It's a very, very solid ability. Obviously, it works better against auto attackers because it's going to slow their attack speed. but it still does a chunk of damage. It does slow them down, which is pretty great. If you talent this up the right way, it can make for some pretty impressive wave clear as well. So you're going to be using a lot of this. Here we have E is Dwarf Toss. Leap to a target location. You deal 135 damage to enemies on landing, which is not so much, but it's fine. Upon leaping, you gain 25 armor for 2 seconds. So here's the caveat. Here's the caveat with this, and I see this with poor Muradins, with people who aren't playing him well. Too often, the compulsion is to use Dwarf Toss as an engage, and if you do that, it's a mistake, in my opinion. I think you want to... here are the two main situations you want to use Dwarf Toss. One is to run away. If you run in, you're engaging the enemy, you're finding out or you're taking too much damage, this is going poorly, you Dwarf Toss out. You can Dwarf Toss over terrain. I don't know if I'm going to have the range to do it right here, but there you go. So you can Dwarf Toss over terrain, and like, if you're being chased, you Dwarf Toss over the terrain, and you immediately just cut off your opponent's ability to come chase you down. So you're going to want to Dwarf Toss away. It'll give you that extra little armor in the process to keep you alive. You do have to be careful. You could be stunned out of it, so that's something you got to watch out for. That does happen. I actually once got pulled by Dahaka while I was in the middle of Dwarf Tossing, and that was not the best thing. So the other situation when you want to Dwarf Toss is when you're winning a fight and you know you're going to be okay for the next, was it 9 seconds, right? 10 seconds. You know you're going to be okay for the next 10 seconds. That's when you use it to kind of follow up and chase somebody down and pick them off. You, in my opinion, will rarely want to use Dwarf Toss as an opening, unless you're very, very confident you're going to be fine for 10 seconds. It's sure, because you have the potential to dive in, get yourself into some shit, and then suddenly it's like, well, man, I got to run away, and my cooldown's down, and then you're kind of, SOL. That's the biggest mistake I think I see people make, is they use Dwarf Toss to engage, and they put themselves into sticky situations, and then their cooldown is up, and they can't get out, and they get themselves killed. So you really, like, when I engage, I usually will just run in, and then maybe I'll get the Stormbolt off, and I'll hit him with a stun, and then I'll close the gap. I very, very rarely will engage using Dwarf Toss, unless it's like a one-on-one situation, and we have numbers. If we're chasing somebody down, I might Dwarf Toss in and throw Stormbolt just to kind of pick them off and slow them down. But really, you're going to want to use Dwarf Toss more often than not to get away, rather than to engage. Alright, let's take a peek at his ults. His first one is Haymaker. This one is the one that I don't recommend to use in most cases. It's going to look something like this. You stun the target enemy hero, you wind up and punch, you deal a big chunk of damage, and you knock them back. And hitting enemies in the way for 720 damage and knocking them aside. It's going to look something like this. So you can see like the target enemy comes right back right away. He actually gets hit a fairly significant distance. This is an interesting one. There he goes. He's up there now. This is an interesting one. It does a lot of damage. It does have potential to hit the entire enemy team if you kind of push them through things. I've seen some interesting combos where somebody will Haymaker the enemy into trouble. I actually saw a video recently where somebody used Haymaker and knocked the enemy into the Diva explosion, which was pretty sweet. But that's a very, very, very situational kind of thing. It can do a lot of damage, but in my opinion, it's the weaker of the two ults. And here is why. Let's go. I'll show you what the second one does. The next one is Avatar. Avatar. Now, Haymaker's only a 40-second cooldown, so you do have that going for you. It's a very short cooldown. Here's why I think Avatar is better. Avatar, transform for 20 seconds, and you gain a whole bunch of health. So it's just going to look something like this. You're going to turn into this little stone form thing. Look at that. Look at that health. That is 8,000 freaking health at level 21. You just do massive amounts. You can just take massive amounts of punishment. This is where if you dive into an enemy team, you fire off Avatar and you just do crazy damage. Not necessarily crazy damage, but you take crazy damage. You take lots and lots of punishment. At 20, not that I necessarily recommend it, but you can even upgrade this one to increase the duration and lower the duration of stuns and roots and whatnot. So, at 20 you also get a extra charge in Haymaker, increase the damage. I mean, that's a lot of damage if you really, really, really need to do it. Avatar is Avatar is the safer pick, I guess is the way to call it. It's definitely the safer pick. If it's the pick that you can use to just take a crap ton of damage and then kind of live to tell the tale. Let's take a look at some of those talents, though, aside from the 2 ultimates, and then we'll hop into a game. Level 1, you got Third Wind. If you want to be extra tanky, Third Wind is going to increase. It's going to basically bonus your trait. It's going to increase the damage that it does straight away. I keep saying damage. It's going to increase the healing that it does straight away. It's also going to increase the threshold for the bonus health from 40 to 60%. So this just means you will kind of top yourself back off more quickly. Alternatively, we've got Perfect Storm here. I mean, block is block if you really need to. Alternatively, Perfect Storm is very good. Reduces Stormbolt's mana cost by 25%. You do have some mana problems with Muradin. His abilities, this is 60 mana, this is 50 mana, this is 55. Especially in the early game, you do, because you live so long. I find personally, because I live so long, I find myself out of mana more than anything else, and I'm forced to either tap the well just for mana or forced to go back to the hearth just to get mana. So that can be useful, lowers the mana cost. But here's the thing: every time you hit a hero, your damage is increased by 5. This can stack indefinitely. So I mean, just look here. Okay, you've got, you hit 35 people, you get lots of bonus damage. I mean, look at the extra. That's a solid punch to pack when it already is stunning on top of it. So it's pretty solid. Level 4, I like Thunderburn fairly well. Thunderclap leaves a zone on the ground that explodes after 2 seconds.
Choose a talent.
Does something like this, and then it's gonna boom. It deals damage and it applies the slow again. So when you jump in on somebody, you hit him with Thunderclap. It's going to leave the area here. It's going to explode again. This gives you a lot of wave clear if you're in the middle of minions. It's going to explode a second time, and it's going to do a bunch of damage. It's going to any heroes in the vicinity are going to be slowed again. So that is pretty sweet. Alternatively, if you're just going a full-on attack build, if you're not the main tank, Sledgehammer, you can deal 4,000 damage to non-heroic enemies, and it destroys ammo from structures. I mean, this potentially can make you fairly siegey. I mean, I think most often than not, you're not going to be filling that role on your team, but it's certainly something that can be considered. You've also got crowd control. Each enemy hit by Thunderclap reduces its cooldown and restores 5 mana. So this can be good as well. So you get to cast it more often, and kind of helps with the mana as well. Level 7, we got Stormbolt pierces, so it can hit up to 2 targets. So that can be pretty sweet. I like Skullcracker a lot too. Every third basic attack increases. Every third basic attack against the same target will stun them for a quarter of a second, which is really just annoying as hell to play against because it'll, you're moving and suddenly you're stunned, trying to cast a spell and suddenly you're stunned. And here's the interesting thing: increases Muradin's basic attack speed by 25. So here he is right now.
Choose a talent.
Now it's gonna look something like this. You're going to attack. You actually do attack, much faster. 2, and there's a stun. The stun is super fast, but it's annoying. It really is annoying. It'll stop channeled abilities. If I've got a laser on me from Asmodan, I just go hit him 3 times, and suddenly the laser stops. Stuff like that. Alternatively as well, Ironforge Momentum, basic attacks reduce the cooldown of Stormbolt and Thunderclap by 0.75 seconds, so as you attack things, your abilities are going to be up more quickly. At 13, I really like Healing Static. Muradin heals for 5% of his max health for each hero hit by Thunderclap. I'm assuming as Muradin you're going to be in the shit and you're going to be in the middle of people, so you throw down Thunderclap. If you can hit 3 people, that's 15% of your maximum health. Your maximum health. So that's percentage base. That's a huge heal, like really just ridiculously good. At 16, I think your alternatives here, if you really wanted to, Thunderstrike. Thunderclap deals 300% damage if only one target is hit. If you're in a one-on-one, I don't know how often you're going to be in a one-on-one situation, but if you manage just to pick somebody off or really get one person slightly separated, this will do a significant chunk of damage. At 16, so you got some interesting choices. Heavy Impact. Enemies hit by Dwarf Toss are stunned for half a second. This could potentially be useful if you're going to use Dwarf Toss as an engage for whatever reason, or if you're chasing somebody down. I really like Stone Form and give him the axe. So Stone Form, you activate it, you heal for 40% of your maximum health over 10 seconds. And this obviously can be used while you're in combat, which is, it disables your trait, but you're going to use this while you're in combat, so your trait's not going to be active anyway. That's a fairly solid heal. You know, if you need some extra damage, give him the axe can turn out some surprising damage. Attacking a hero that is slowed, rooted, or stunned increases your basic attack damage by 60%, excuse me, for 3 seconds. I'll show you what that looks like here. It's going to be pretty solid. So I can just attack somebody. First, you just attack somebody. You know, you hit him with the thunderclap. Look at all. You hit them when they're stunned, and you get bonus damage. You really do a surprising amount of damage very quickly with that, especially if you've gone with Skullcracker. You can really beat down some squishies very quickly. And plus, it's going to trigger for not just your abilities, but for anybody else who's got you know, slows or CC going on as well. So that could potentially, you know, make for a lot of damage and a fairly significant power spike here at level 16. Level 20, rewind. It's probably the way to go. I mean, Hardened Shield's great. Activate to gain 75 armor for 4 seconds. That's really big. I mean, that's just, it makes you, you know, also incredibly tanky for those 75, or except for those 4 seconds, excuse me. Rewind is really good. It's usually what I would recommend. Activate to reset your cooldowns. You know, this is one where at 20, like, okay, I can dive in, I can drop my CC, oh great, and then I can hit rewind, and then I have my cooldowns back up, so then I get the Thunderclap and Stormbolt again, and I still have time to kind of jump back out. That's only basic abilities, so, you know, Avatar's not going to get reset, or Haymaker's not going to get reset, but, you know, this is where you can really use it to you're able to drop in. You know, let's take out toggle cooldowns off, I'll show you what I'm talking about. You kind of jump in, you hit him with the stun, you throw down your thunderclap, it's like, okay, now I can toggle rewind and do it again, and then if I still need to, I can jump back out. It makes you very tricky to pin down, very tricky to kill, gives you actually some fairly decent burst potential if you build it, you know, the damage kind of style. So, I like Muradin. He's really good. He's very strong. Like I said, he's an easy character to pick up. I can see some of the complaints that his playstyle can be a little on the boring side. What do you have to look out for with Muradin? You're going to want to watch out for anybody who does percent damage. Tychus is going to be trouble. Leoric is going to be trouble. Raynor, the Giant Killer, is going to be trouble. Anybody you can do percent damage is going to give you a hard time. People who can slow you are going to give you a bit of a hard time. I mean, Jaina, you can kind of, you know, chew her face off if you get to her, but her slows are going to make your, you know, just going to make things much more difficult for you. He's going to combo really well with people that have a lot of CC too. All right, look, we've got a Medivh. We have got an Uther, a Nazebo, and a Nova. Okay. So that's a very interesting motley crew that we've got going for us on our side. The Nova and the Nazebo are on the team. So, okay, we're up against a Zagara. So they have a lot of meat. They have a lot of meat. Rexar's pretty beefy. Zarya with the shield is going to be pretty beefy. Zagara is just tricky to pin down on the creep. Now, fortunately, your Thunderclap can destroy the creep if you know where the creep tumors are. Arthas is going to really be a pain in the ass because you're melee. So I'm going to be like diving into his slow, and that's going to suck. Yeah, this is not going to be an easy team to play against. Plus, I think the Arthas, the AoE does very well in Infernal Shrines. Rexar will do very well in Infernal Shrines. This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough. Our healing, I think, is better. I think Uther, Charism is pretty solid, I'm not going to lie. Nova's going to have a hard time because really, like, there are no easy targets here. Like, there are no easy targets for Nova at all. She's going to have some trouble. Nazebo, hopefully it's a 3-lane map. Hopefully Nazebo can kind of scale up and do okay. I'm going to go a damage-ish build. I'm less concerned about the damage that they can do, and more about how we're going to be able to take them down. So I'm going to go a damage-ish build. I do take Stormbolt, Perfect Storm at level 1 to kind of ramp up, to keep my mana up, and ramp up the ability, the damage on my Stormbolt. The Stormbolt, I can trigger the Stormbolt off of Misha, so that hopefully I'll be able to get some stacks with that. I also forgot I picked the Murky Announcer, which is hysterical. We're gonna have some trouble. We're gonna have a little struggle with some wave clear. We're definitely gonna struggle with some wave clear. The Zebo will do okay, But Nova's got no wave clear. I don't know where the enemy team is. They were... there we go. That's fine. We can just burn through that. I see, now I threw my Stormbolt into a minion, so I didn't get the trigger. There we go. There's a proc. So we're gonna be... here's something I didn't, you know, we're gonna have a hard time killing them, but we do have better, I think we do have better crowd control. I've got a stun, Uther has a stun. I want to stay out of that. That's for sure. So here's where I can just kind of head out here. I'm gonna get a proc on that. Our team is not in the right place. They really should kind of bail out. I'm gonna dive away. And look at that, I'm already at, you know, say a third mana. Like, I could stay in here and regen, and there's a freeze. Hey, look at this. There we go. I can kind of stand there and regen my health pretty quickly, but my mana is going to be trouble. Can we just soak is right. Yeah, he's got the right idea.
Prepare yourselves for the slaughter.
Miss the Stormbolt.
Activate the shrine. Slay its guardians.
Now I've got to be careful here, just because of the mana. I will have to go and tap the well in a moment. I'm going to slow everybody down, just try to give time for Uther to bail out. I'm going to tap the well just for mana. I don't need the health. I am going to get the mana. They have a talent tier up. That's not so great. I really don't like the ability. Like, Nazeebo's going to stay down there. Nope, I don't want to Hearth. I do want to Thunder Burn. I really think we should just give them this objective. Like, I do... I'm just going to try to get some Stormbolt stacks. I'm going to bail out over here. Try not to body block my team. Yeah, I think we should just give them the stat. Yeah, Nazeebo isn't going to help out. He's going to fight Zagara. I'm going to be low on mana after this. I'm just going to try and build up my Stormbolt stacks. That is not a good place to be. Alright, now I gotta be careful. Here's where I've got to be careful. Where I don't have mana to use... Ah, that was unfortunate on my fault. I don't have mana to use my Dwarf Toss. I am going to bail out. Somehow I have all of the hero damage. I think that's what's going to end up happening this game. Nova did get out of it alive, so that's good. I'm going to come back over here. So they busted through that first wall. That's too bad. Oh, I'm going to try and body block this guy, but he gets away with the dash. Now here's where I can probably use my Dwarf Toss as an engage. Because they're on the run, and this is going to be back up before I'm going to be in significant danger, unless of course I put myself in significant danger. That's a good kill by Medivh. Very, very solid. So, we lost a keep, or we lost a fort rather, which is unfortunate. We're going to lose the secondary keep up top, though, and that's trouble. I'm going to go Skullcracker. Nazeebo is getting seriously pushed in on the bottom. I see Nova got picked off in mid. That is too bad. That was their first kill of the game. Zebo also got picked off. I don't know what's going on down there. I'm still on the top. I'm not too worried about being in the thick of this. I'm going to be able to Dwarf Toss out. I'm going to hit Rexar in the face once. Alright, now I'm going to bail out. I'm going to tap the well. Less for the health, more for the mana. But it will help me get back up just a little bit sooner. Alright, so I got 16 stacks already. I got 80 bonus damage on that. Now we have problems. So they're going to get 10 way before us. So I'm going to call out the fact that they have 10 and we don't. Hopefully the team is cognizant of that. Not only are we 2 levels down, but they have their ultimates. We want to be really careful about that, and I guess we're going to engage anyway, which is really silly to just be frank. Oh, and there's an ultimate, and I'm going to bail out of that. First, I'm going to stun you, just for safety's sake. Like, we really should not be in the middle of this. Like, we definitely should be just soaking. Nova did get a kill, though. Okay. Not a total loss. There is the Punisher. We're going to try and clear out some minions here. I'm just trying to get some XP. We're going to mute Nova in a second. That's fine. Again. So we still have the push going on up top, as you see. Like, this is just silly. So at this point, we all should be here. Like, at this stage in the game... I'm gonna do this just for safety's sake. I need this. Give me this globe. Globy globe. We got caught in that, unfortunately. Arthas is going to get saved by Divine Palm. I have no mana. Nazebo takes the port. I'm probably going to get killed for that move. Nazebo realizes that he kind of made a mistake. Uther cleanses me. Thank you, sir. So we do get away. Here's the problem. We're down 2 levels. We, shouldn't have engaged there again. I'm going to get mana. I'm going to head towards that wave of minions. See what we can do. We are, I think we're going to be a later game comp anyway. I'm going to give him the axe at 16, which means that's going to be my power spike. Nazebo is not going to power up until he kills lots of stuff, so that's going to be a big spike for him. Alright, I'm in the zombie wall. What is 2 sets of mercs?
Loose the Punisher, heroes. Let it tear our foes apart.
I don't really want to fight them, because we're down 2 levels. Maybe Zarya, if she's going to overextend, we can pick her off. There's the stun. I will hop in there on the... Oh, I didn't mean to trigger that. God damn it. So Nova there was getting herself killed. She probably should have picked off Zarya. That was a good save in Divine Palm for them. I made a mistake and hit that extra hit and triggered it. I'm just gonna kind of hang here. I'm going to call for that retreat. Nazebo, if he sticks around, is going to get killed. The Punisher's going to jump on him. He's going to die. What we want to do is we want to pull back here. We want to bait the Punisher to jump over the wall right around here. Just so he'll be, be able to burn the Punisher down. And the team is not going to do this. They're going to get themselves picked off. Yep, see, they fucked up. That was a mistake by Nazebo. Also, Arthas took Syndragosa, which is unusual. That is a good Divine Shield. I need to bail out just for a few seconds. Solid cleanse. Oh, I'm in trouble here, and here's where I'm going to get killed. Punisher still at 25%. That is a thing.
Finally,
Oy.
their Punisher has fallen before us.
Didn't quite get the stun. Oh, that was a good route. Pulled me out of Dwarf Toss. We're gonna get Arthas here. There's the stun and there's the pick off. Okay, so we did get a kill out of it. We're still down 3 levels. We need the experience and then some. We either need to get some picks if the enemy overextends, or we need a crap ton of soak, like right away. They're going in for it. Like, this is... Really should get some focus on the... We didn't get any kills out of that. Didn't get any kills out of that. We really didn't focus the right people at all. Very bad, very bad. We should have been all over Karazim. I'm gonna have to bail out of this because I can't deal with them 2-on-1. Our team isn't here. That is 3-on-1. Yeah, I see. I can't do anything. We really should get some Merc camps. Like, that's a good camp to pick up. Nazebo would be super suited to get that, and I guess he's gonna try for it. Okay, very good. Unfortunately, the unfortunate part of that is that Merc camp is gonna go top, which is where the objective is, which means the enemy team is gonna be right there.
Activate the shrine quickly. The Punisher awaits.
Alright, I'm gonna go bail out. I'm gonna go join the team. We're down a talent tier. We're only down 1 level. Actually, we're down 2 levels now. They're about to hit 17. I missed Stormbolt. That's bad. Here we go. I need to bail for a little bit. I'm gonna get picked off. Good. That was a good force of will on Medivh. Nova picked the wrong ultimate. This is definitely not a triple tap kind of composition. Like, I can't do anything. I need to stay here and wait now. They're going to get this objective. Yeah, this is just gonna be how it goes.
Sure thing. Our foe has summoned an arcane Punisher. Slay it before it slays you.
Yep, need 16. He is exactly right. Somebody on this team. Uther's been very, very solid all game. 16 will be a pretty solid spike. I will give him the axe. I'll be able to do a lot of damage. We've gone we've been fairly close at killing people, and they just get away. So I'm hoping give him the axe will really give us what we need. I'm gonna go, there we go, okay. Give him the axe. Now I'm gonna try to poke in over here. I do need to stay away from that. See, that's a lot of damage right there. He's gonna get killed. I'm gonna come up here. Am I gonna make it? Gonna make it. It's probably gonna be too little too late. I'm gonna dive in just for the sake of diving in. I will not get the kill on Karazim because we're too dead. Yeah, we lost the early game and we kind of got snowballed. We were definitely gonna be a late game composition. Their Karazim was really good. I liked our team. I mean, our team, I think, Muradin was great. Medivh was pretty solid. The Uther was really on point. I'm gonna give Karazim some love because he did very well. He definitely saved a couple of them with Divine Palm. Let's take a look at the stuffs that we've got going on here. Some stats. You did more hero damage. Yeah, you know, we got to 16 too late. I think that would have been a big spike for us. So stats wise, yeah. See, I didn't get killed. Nazeebo did lots of damage. So, I mean, good props to him too. You know, he got lots of experience. That's too bad. You know, that was too bad. I think I don't think our Nova was just going to be in for some trouble. I mean, that's really all that could be said. I think triple tap wasn't the right call, but Nova was just going to be in some trouble from the get-go. This is a very beefy team, so it would have been tough to her. We really had to get them lower. I do question some of her targets though. You know, you want to pick off the lower health ones. I thought she was focusing on some of the wrong ones, which is too bad. Uther was on point. Uther was really good. I thought Medivh for the most part was pretty solid too. I mean, it's just a tough game. Let's look at the talents here. Nova took bribe. I don't think she ever used bribe. I don't know if I saw it. I barely saw any mercenaries from us. The chamber. Yeah. That build makes me a little sad pants, slightly, definitely. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, what did I do? I went Perfect Storm. Reduces Stormbolt's mana cost by 25%. Every time Stormbolt hits a hero, its damage is increased by 5. I did okay with this. I think I don't know what I was up to. I was up in the 20s or 30s toward the end of the game. I was pretty on point with most of my Stormbolts. I missed one or two, but I thought it was mostly alright. Level 4 Thunderburn. Thunderclap leaves a zone on the ground that explodes after 2 seconds, dealing 48 damage and applying a 25% slow. I wanted this one both for the slow and largely for the wave clear. Like we didn't outside of Nazeebo, we had very little wave clear going on, and I wanted to try and clear out waves. That was part of our problem too. Level 7 Skullcracker. Every third basic attack against. I do think even without, I do want to mention even without needing necessarily the wave clear, Thunderburn's a very strong talent. So. 7 Skullcracker, every third basic attack against the same target will stun them. This was just, I was going to go more damage, so I wanted to go more damage. The stuns are useful. The increased attack speed is pretty sweet. Avatar, I'm curious, actually, I did go Avatar. I'm curious if this would have been one of those games where Haymaker makes a difference. Maybe we would have been able to pick off some people. I'm not sure. Level 13, Healing Static. Muradin heals for 5% of his max health each hero hit by Thunderclap. This, unfortunately, we got to level 16 way too late in the game. Give him the axe. I was hoping that you saw the damage that it did. At that point, the game was almost over. We kind of like burned through Arthas very quickly, even though we were in his AoE. They just get slowed, and then you do quite a lot of extra damage. Had I gotten to 20, I would have gone Rewind. Rewind would have been the way to go, especially in this build. You want to do just burst damage. This was an unfortunately paired team. I don't understand what the fuck the Quickmatch, the matchmaker is thinking here. Warrior against one warrior. I mean, I don't. I will assume I'll call Zagara and Nazeebo a wash. I figure they're just specialists. That's fine. Somehow we get 2 specialists. Okay, Yeah, frankly, I don't. Uther carries him. That's a wash. That leaves. If we say Arthas and Muradin cancel each other out, then they have two bruiser warrior types into Medivh and Nova, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I don't know what that means. That's, it's a very tough composition to play against. It doesn't make any goddamn sense to me, but that is the game. That's what you get, and not a whole lot of kills. 7 to 10. We just got out pushed. We didn't react. Rexar had his way with that top lane for quite a while, and we got beat. We were gonna scale up later into the game. Excuse me. Uther was gonna scale up. This is what I was really playing for, was to give him the axe, and Debo was gonna scale up later in the game. It looks like he went a spider build. Yeah, he went big voodoo, which makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, they beat us before we got a chance to get into it. That's just a little, that's quick match. That's quick match for ya. Anyhow, I will post the build up on the Heroes Earth. Pop it in the description as I usually do. If you've been watching any of these, you know the drill by now. My name is Conman. We're finished off with the fourth row of heroes. We got 3 more rows to go. We get to play the Murky next to finish off the M's. I haven't really played Murky much since the rework, so this should be fun as well. Anyhow, my name's Conman. I appreciate you watching. Thanks very much, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.